Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Consumer protection. Consumer protection is defined as the various ways and methods adopted by the government and private organizations to ensure that consumers are not cheated or exploited by the producers and middlemen, and also that they derive maximum satisfaction from the consumption of goods and services they pay for. Consumerism can be defined as the organized efforts or actions of consumers or individuals to protect themselves against unfair practices of businessmen. Reasons for consumer protection include to protect consumers from substandard or low quality goods, as some producers sometimes offer for sale substandard goods without taking the consumers into consideration. 2. To help consumers have adequate and correct information to make the right choice, as claims of some advertisers about their products may be deceptive. Consumers are offered protection in order to avoid the use of deceptive weights in measures in the sale of goods by the sellers. Consumers are protected so as to get maximum satisfaction from goods bought and value for money spent. Consumers are also protected from exploitation caused by high prices by ensuring that fair and reasonable prices are maintained. Consumers are protected against dangerous or harmful goods by ensuring that goods offered for sale are safe and uncontaminated. Consumers are also protected against false credit facilities like the hire purchase, since some consumers may not know the details of the credit agreement before entering into contract. By not restricting consumers' right to choose, consumers get to receive the type of goods and services they demand for. The consumers are protected to ensure regular supply of goods, as this will guard against hoarding of goods. Another reason for consumer protection is that consumers need to be educated on hire purchase laws and other of such laws. Consumers need to be protected against inadequate instruction or directions, as consumers can make wrong use of manufacturers' items and suffer injuries or losses in the end. Rights of consumers includes the right to choose between alternatives, the right to good things of life, right to safety, right to be heard. Consumers have the right to be informed. They have the right to get or receive value for their money. Consumers have the right to seek redress or correction to any injustice. They have the right to live in a healthy environment. Legislation. In order to check the unfair practices of producers and middlemen, various legislations or laws have been enacted or put in place by the government. Some of the laws to protect the consumers are the Food and Drug Act of 1955, the Weight and Measures Act of 1963, the Price Control Decree 1970, the Trade Description Act 1968, the Standard Organization Decree 1971, Hire Purchase Act 1975, Sales of Goods Act 1893, and the Rent Edict Act. Agencies responsible for consumer protection. They include the Consumers Association, the Manufacturers Association, the Rent Tribunals, the Price Control Board, the Food and Drug Department of Ministry of Health, the Standard Organization of Nigeria, the Environmental Protection Agency, the Public Health Department, the professional bodies, the Ministry of Trade, Industry. The Consumer Association. The consumer associations are formed by consumers to protect their rights and interests. They study the prices and the quality of goods sold in their locality and make recommendations to their members. Examples of consumer associations include the Tenant Association. The Manufacturers Association is an association of producers who come together to ensure that the quality of goods produced is high and that the members comply with their professional ethics. For example, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria. The Rent Tribunals. The rent tribunals are set up by the government to regulate any matter relating to rentage of houses, shops, etc. The establishment is aimed at curbing the excesses of landlords and agents by controlling the rent charged. The Price Control Board. The Price Control Board was established for the Federation to control inflation by fixing the retail prices of certain essential commodities. The board also ensures that the provisions of the Price Control Decree are enforced. The Food and Drug Department of Ministry of Health. The Food and Drug Administration Department, whose duty is now handled by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control (NABTEB), is charged with administering the provision of the Food and Drug Decree. The department has field offices where consumers can report cases of contaminated or adulterated foods and drugs. The Standard Organization of Nigeria. The Standard Organization of Nigeria was established by the Federal Government of Nigeria in 1971. The functions of the organizations are 1. To standardize methods and products in companies, to ensure compliance with government policy of standardization, to provide measure of quality control products, to advise the federal government on national policy on standard and quality control, to test products to ensure that minimum specifications are met. The Environmental Protection Agency is a parastatal of the federal government. Its main objectives are 1. To ensure that regulations and rules concerning environmental sanitation and hygiene are strictly adhered to. This is also extended to goods sold within the country. 2. To ensure the treatment of polluted water and payment of compensation to inhabitants by the company that caused such pollution. To also ensure disposal of refuse and to maintain clean sewage system. The Public Health Unit / sanitary inspectors. The Public Health Unit or department is the government organ that deals with complaints on dirty environment, shops, restaurants, and food items that are not fit for consumption. They enforce the rules on sanitation of consumable goods and healthy environment. We also have professional bodies. Some professional bodies like the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria (ICAN), Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria (CIBN), etc., lay down rules and regulations about their profession. They ensure that members abide by the ethics of the profession by regulating their activities so as to protect the consuming public. The Ministry of Trade and Industry. The Ministry of Trade and Industry, in collaboration with other organs, administer government laws and regulations relating to trade and industry in a country.